but that's okay. Hi, welcome to the Ladies Meeting Podcast. This is Anyssa, and I'm speaking with Charito Kaay today. She's an essential oils expert and natural health educator. And she has gone from being a chemical engineer to educating people on their health as well. Welcome, Charito.
Thanks, Anyssa, for having me on. It's a pleasure to get to know you in the past 6 months, and I'm so happy to be here on the podcast for the ladies meeting.
Awesome. And thank you for taking up the challenge of being one of our 3 challenge speakers for our conference, which was really exciting. I thought it was very brave. I just threw it out there and you got up there and spoke, so I really appreciate that. So on the podcast, we always ask people the same 8 questions, and you get to own it and do whatever you want with it. So if you want to find out more about Charito as well, you'll find this video is loaded onto the ladiesmeeting.com, which is a private women's group, and we meet once a month on the last Tuesday of the month in Vancouver, except for December, because that would be kind of crazy. And you can find us there, and you can find some more info on Charito and her business there as well. She'll have a download and a little bit more of a bio, so you can find out more about her there as well, and some for links. So, Charito, what are the 3 most important things we should know about you?
As you touched upon, I was in a previous lifetime an engineer, and that really catapulted most of my direction in life in being in touch with nature, soil, water, air, and also connection with my grandparents who really loved gardening. And as an environmental engineer, I was in there with the polluters, helping them to mitigate and reduce their impact. Everybody is trying to run their business, and there will be impacts and inputs to the environment. And it really made a difference to me that I was providing some sort of contribution to help mitigate those issues. And when I was wondering how to answer this question, I could talk about my achievements. and it's not just who I am, it's really what do I embody. And as an engineer, yes, it was a well-paying job, but in the end, altruistically, I wanted to make a contribution. And when I got sick about 10 years ago, as an environmental engineer, I got promoted. I really reevaluated my life and considered, where do I want to go in this lifetime? Well, first of all, I had to get myself back to health. And with the help of my husband, I fell into the meditation world and the spirituality world. And what's super helpful about that is I was now not only connected to the world and the environment and Mother Earth, I was now actually connecting to my own feelings, which I had fragmented myself from that once my father passed away at 15, and I was doing achievements, and going full circle and going into the meditation world. I had a bit of experience with understanding breathing techniques as a scuba diver, as a master scuba instructor. So it really made sense to me to sink into breath work and understanding the neuroscience behind how that helped to calm the nerves, as well as activating the natural healing powers that the computer machine that is our body can achieve. So those are kind of the 3 most important things from an engineer and meditator.
Awesome. And what a huge change to go from environmental engineer to what you're doing now. It's huge. And it's funny how it often takes us a huge event in our life, usually a health event, for us to make those big changes, hey? What is work and what is play for you?
Well, what is play for most people? And people see what my lifestyle looks like. Even my husband get a little bit overwhelmed. But when I look at my calendar, I see it mostly as play. And when I move towards joy and happiness and feeding in my needs and feeding my adventurous need for personal growth, I know that this is not work. Work comes from, in my mind, when my innate needs are not being met. And when I look at kind of a needs inventory for myself, what is really important to me is a sense of belonging, acknowledgement, feeling safe is a big one for me, safety, and this adventurous need for continuously learning. I have this voracious need to an appetite to learn as much as I can. And when I got sick as an engineer, I took a 2-year health sabbatical, and it became Project Charito. And I sunk into the spirituality world. I was introduced to the vegan and vegetarian world, and I all of a sudden became a raw vegan chef. It looks like work from someone who's observing, but I found it like play. I was playing in the kitchen, making all these creations, and the witchery and alchemy of creating something like cheesecake without cheese. So when I light up and I do something, that is play. It is not work for me. But if I'm not feeling safe and I'm doing things for the sake of achieving and working on that to-do list, on and on and on, that is work for me. And fair enough, there are things we have to do. We have to pay our bills. We have to do the laundry. But it is also a state of mind. If I'm doing laundry and I can do active meditation by feeling the warmth of the clothes as they come out of the dryer, or sorting out my clothes and having gratefulness for the clothes that I do have, putting in the washing machine, and that I actually have a washing machine. These are things that I can transform what work is into play.
I love it. I love it. I think that those simple things can be so enjoyed and make life better. And I think that's why the oils that I have help make things better too. Like I just think of the dryer smell, and then the smell that it's always like, what beautiful smells can I bring into my life? So, and you've added some of those to me as well. Is there something that you want others to help you achieve, or that you need support with? And I'm gonna walk as you talk. Okay, I'm gonna go to a quiet location.
Okay. Based on my need to spread the word and education of what I've learned through my own health journey, being in front of an audience, speak in, say, lunch and learns, going to charity events as a keynote speaker at locations to get the message out of my healing journey, and the idea that stress comes in different forms. And as an environmental engineer, I have that analytical mind where I can look as a general manager of health and say, here are all the potential structures in our life. Rather than going directly to a solution, I look at the problem formulation and really analyzing, do we have a problem, and what is the actual process of creating the problem? What is the problem? And in terms of where I need support is getting out in public. I've now asking for feedback in terms of my speeches. I've decided to join a Toastmaster group, as many of the other ladies in the ladies meeting have done so, and I've had this great connection, and through a process of going through the speeches through the Pathways program has been amazing, and the support there. And also asking successful keynote speakers, how have they gotten the word out that they are worthy of being listened to? So that's kind of where I'm seeing the need now in 2019, where I'm heading in that direction. I at first was sharing my story, and that provided, inspired action for a lot of people. Whether it's inspired by pictures of what I've cooked that day or what I'm doing in my life, that really, really kind of lights me up to see that someone is actually inspired and then take immediate massive action. So I love that, and see how that can go on a grander scale. Yeah.
Amazing. And I think like you were talking this morning, like you are starting to do that because you've got an event you're going to be speaking at. Is it tomorrow night as well?
It's tonight.
Tonight. Oh, amazing. Wow, that's great. I think that your story is going to be really important to a lot of people. So I expect to keep seeing you on stages. I know that it's going to keep getting out there and build your business as well. If there was one book that you think everybody should read, what would it be? And you can have two if you need to.
Oh, yeah, well, there's many books, but the one that's really interesting to me is this book called Your Resonant Self by Sarah Payton. And people in the spirituality world, or just in general right now, meditation and mindfulness is becoming in the forefront. The idea of being present in the moment is an idea some people can't really wrap their head around, and people have busy minds. So the question is why do we have busy minds, and sink into that, lean into that, and accept we have busy minds. So when I talked about doing laundry and going through the motions of taking time for mindfulness, that in itself is meditation. And what I've found with my clients is that once they accept the emotions that they are feeling, then we can actually work through, actually express them completely and fully, whether it's grief, sadness, disappointment, anger, and go ahead and release all of those so we can actually let it go. Because if we're suppressing it, it's still actually there. And I know that from experience, that I actually didn't grieve my father's passing 25 years ago. And it's coming up. And I thought I actually dealt with it, but actually it's been suppressed. So now I'm going through the motion, which, as an adult, I'm probably more able and capable to handle kind of the ups and downs of the emotional roller coaster as I process the events that happen and the experiences that I had as a child with a different lens and different perspective. So it's reframing. So once I've identified the emotion, I run through it, I reframe it. And then I talked about how I was doing achievements, which is distraction, which is a lower level of being able to tap into your needs and feelings. And then being able to empathize with other people. Because oftentimes we'll get defensive. We'll feel unsafe. We'll feel disappointed in someone. And then anger manifests into something we didn't actually want to happen, and then we're disappointed in ourselves, we're disappointed in someone else, and rather actually being authentic and honest with the other person, we can actually have a conversation so the problem can be solved.
Often when we forget to seek first to understand, Stephen Covey, I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned is until we can put some of ourselves and understand the other people, we really can't really make a judgment as to why they have reacted in a way, or why, even ourselves seek first understand why we've made a judgment call or how we've reacted to something. So that's a really key point, and we don't always relate that to business or to family as well. It's kind of interesting.
Yes, and everyone has different personality types. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to doing personality tests. There's the desire map, the motivational map, the Enneagram, there's Berkman, all kinds of tests out there, and I like to do them so I can get a better understanding of who I am, and I can adequately communicate that to other people so they can understand me, and then maybe we can have a dialogue of how we can work best together, because not everyone has the same motivations as I do, and I'll often keep this needs analysis and feelings just to kind of be in check with where I am and where the other person is at if I need to. I don't keep this anymore, but it's in my head. But I remember that I had to carry this around with me so that I can remember all the needs, whether they're in play or not, that other people will have them in play.
It's like you're a scientist.
I am a scientist. I assess, evaluate, and then we come to a solution, and then there's a refinement of the solution. But there may not even be a solution if the problem actually doesn't exist. So oftentimes we'll jump to a conclusion last night, or I guess last afternoon, yesterday, we were at the Georgia Hotel in downtown, a group of ladies, and a lady had come in, and immediately, since a lot of the group of ladies were into skincare, she said, "What do you think about my hand?" And some people jumped to the product solution, and I jumped to what is actually going on, and when did this start, when did this happen. And me as an intuitive healer, I can also kind of assess where their emotional state is. Physical is not without an emotional component to it. And in the end, I didn't offer a product. In the end, I offered a switch in lifestyle, because it was a chemical burn. It wasn't eczema. And I'd seen the same issue on young children, where the teacher is asking all the kids to wash your hand 3 or 4 or 5 times a day with the harsh chemicals that are in the bathrooms. So it looked exactly the same. And she actually acknowledged that, yes, she does wash her hands too often. And so that was kind of an assessment of the issue, because maybe we don't need a product. Just a lifestyle switch.
I seem to be attracting crowds. Sorry. I'm going to go sit in the hallway. I think that is really key when you seek to first to understand. People are more likely to come to your product because they know that you haven't just tried to sell them something because it's so easy, right? What is your favorite thing to do with friends?
My favorite thing to do with friends is to do something, whether there's personal development or personal growth. There's movement of body, and movement of body could be yoga, it could be scuba diving, it could be singing, because that is a full body movement from the inside out.
That's exactly what I was thinking, inside and out.
Inside and out. And as we are elevating our vibrational energy levels to joy and happiness, and that shared experience of joy and happiness, that is my most favorite thing to do with friends, where at the end of the activity, our connection, it could be coffee. After a connection, we both feel fantastic at the end of it. So like next Friday, I'm going to go skydiving for my friend's birthday, because she had never gone skydiving before, and she's going to fly out of a plane. I'm so excited for that. That's what we're going to do to spend her birthday.
That's going to be amazing. Plus, anytime there's an adrenaline hit, you have that sense of really stuck. It's going to be emotionally impactful as well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. What is a product that you are rarely without?
One, because I know that I'm a very emotional being. I am never without this product here. I don't know if you can see that. Valor. It's a roll-on, and during my healing journey, this is one thing that I used a lot of. Valor stands for courage, and courage means that you know what challenges you're stepping into, whether it's speaking in front of the public, speaking to a stranger, and still going through with it, with the activity. But somehow I feel like I do have courage. I married my husband within six months of, we call it the dating interview process. And he says, you have so much courage, but I'm always stepping out of my comfort zone. And this has just become kind of my signature scent. And it is a Young Living essential oil product. It came with my introductory box of oils initially when I started 10 years ago, a box that looks similar like this, and there were 10 oils. There was Valor and there was Peace and Calming, and those are the two that I really gravitated towards because they were emotional oils that supported emotional support.
I have a bottle of Peace and Calming that I'm like Get the last bit out.
Yeah. Those two were drained like within the week. And me and my husband were in Victoria going scuba diving. And so every time we'd go in the elevator from the hotel, the concierge could tell that I had just been in it. Because I left a trail of peace and calming.
What's in there that is so amazing?
Peace and calming has a lot of the citrus oils, orange and tangerine, and ylang ylang helps with hormonal support, female hormonal support.
Okay, put that on my order.
Yeah. What else is on
here?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Valor and peace and calming. Okay. And the peace and calming, my husband, he had a hard time sleeping. He wasn't used to sleeping with someone in the same bed with him night after night after night. And peace and calming helps him to go to sleep. It's known as the nightmare chaser for children.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. What do you do now that you hope to be doing 10 or 20 years from now?
Well, 10 or 20 years from now, I looked at how old I was going to be. I'm going to be 63, and my husband will be 78. And because of our lifestyle, we are hoping to still be able to do all the things that we're doing right now, whether it's scuba diving, being able to have the freedom of time when we want to be on the water, to take a vacation during the week instead of the long weekend like everyone else, and being able to walk. So I come from understanding what it feels like to be debilitated, not being able to enjoy life to its fullest. So I'm grateful to be able to have that on a daily basis. At one point during my illness, I couldn't actually get out of bed. My husband would lift me out of bed, put me on the toilet, wait for me to be done my thing, and then help me off the toilet, put me back in bed, help me into the car. So these are things that I had a little snippet of time where I understand what it's like to live with not being able to do things and not have enjoyment of life. So I want to be living life with vibrancy and joy, and the name of my health coaching business, Vibrant Alive.
Amazing. Do you have a life hack to share with all of us that keeps you so vibrant and alive?
My life hack is not for everyone, but there's the detoxification process. People who are religious or in a spiritual community, there is fasting that has been going on as part of religious ceremonies. Fasting is a time where you don't eat for long periods time of the day during spiritual healing. And that for me is a life hack. And as I get older, as time goes on, and I'm actually reversing things, I'm actually getting younger, is I'm finding that the less I eat, the more time my body is able to rest and digest and give it time for rejuvenation. I feel more vibrant by doing intermittent fasting, eating less food. And that kind of comes with time as I remove my addictions to sugar, remove my addictions to caffeine and other stimulus. And now myself, I don't need coffee to stay awake. It comes from the inside out rather than external Red Bull or coffee. Out the intermittent fasting and the detoxification that happens through that, I equate it to taking out the garbage every single day, 3 times a day, in fact, rather than waiting for, say, a quarterly cleanse, waiting for a diet, or waiting for a wedding to slim up for, or after Christmas holidays. For me, every day is a detoxification process. I mean, there's many hacks, but that one is key.
Do you have a key way to get off of coffee? That's going to be my last question to you, because I know you've got the oils, and I think one of the biggest addictions can be coffee and sugar. a great thing to stop. And so is there a little bit of advice as a healer that you can recommend to people for that addiction to coffee?
With coffee, there's two things that are happening. One is energy. So when we wake up, we are not feeling like we have enough energy. So in order for us to start our day or get going for 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, we are in the habit of reaching for coffee. There are other things that can help that are more health promoting and support overcoming fatigue. As long as we're okay with the fact that we are simply going for coffee for the wake up versus say, I love the enjoyment and taste and flavor and the smell of coffee, because that's something completely different.
And that's part of my problem, as I love the flavor. I don't care if it's decaf. I love, someone's actually caught me they've been in my kitchen with me making coffee, and it's really more of it's a meditation process. They're like, what's wrong? I'm like, what do you mean what's wrong? I'm just zoned out and I'm chill, and it's like part of my routine. It's about grinding the beans and making the coffee and adding the oil in and doing the bulletproof coffee. And to me, it's just nice to have that routine. So I just wish there was something else I could grind. I've actually got beetroot, and I add a lot of other weird things into my coffee. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
For me, it's the routine I love more than even the coffee itself.
Exactly. And so when I'm coaching someone on lifestyle changes, we have to look at the process of what is actually going on. Is it emotional, or what can we do to support that? If it is emotional, we have to deal with that separately than the coffee addiction if it's caffeine. So if it's caffeine, that's the energy. If it's a smell and aromatherapy of the coffee, that's something completely different. You can actually buy raw cacao, which is chocolate. They actually come in a bean form. You can actually grind that and do the same process as chocolate, as coffee. And you can do your bulletproof coffee with the grass-fed butter and the MCT oil, and it tases fabulous. And
okay.
It has a
hook me up. Okay, that's going to be our first cooking class, as well as the chocolate mousse.
It's all about the chocolate. I don't know where this theme is coming, but yes, wonderful, yes.
Okay, let's book it when we get off this meeting. Anyway, thank you so much for those life hacks and for all of the information you've shared with our viewers today. If you're a member of the ladies meeting, get to know Charito, take her out for coffee or tea. We always recommend that our members listen to all these live bios, which is really fun. It's a way to get to know Charito before or after a meeting and get a little bit deeper into who she is and a little more know, like, and trust. And thank you so much for joining us today, Charito.
Thank you so much.
And I'll see you at the next meeting as well. And I'm just going to end our meeting here.